about their very existence if we had had a floodgates open to imports from non-transparent geographies. But the pharma industry suffered during COVID so badly. When APIs were not available, it would have almost come to a standstill. But for India's ability and resilience to once again get APIs into production into India. And now we are focused on having the entire value chain in our control. We as in the pharma industry, as a nation. And I would strongly urge all of you. Of course, the same applies to the members of the value chain. Please don't overcharge. Because if you overcharge based on any protection that you get, then industry is bound to ditch you. It's bound to leave you. It'll have to be a collective effort. And I remember Rakesh ji and all supporting me significantly in one similar problem we had about 6-8 months back. And we were able to amicably support the entire value chain. We were able to draw working relationships by which the raw material suppliers were happy and every element of the value chain was protected. I would urge the entire industry, please support domestic procurement and domestic value within your final product to the highest level possible. And if at all it is possible, I would urge the industry in one of your all industry engagements to consider whether we can have a voluntary, I will not mandate it, a voluntary system by which companies have to declare what is the domestic content of their production. And of course an honest declaration. ऐसा नहीं कि मैंने भद्रेश से माल लिया तो मेरा तो 100% डोमेस्टिक है और भद्रेश से उठा के 90% इम्पोर्ट कर दिया. The whole value chain has to be captured. We will have to look at how much of the value chain comes from India, and I do appreciate there may be certain things where we are not competitive, in which case we may import. I strongly believe that it will ultimately have to be cost competitive also. Michael Porter's theory will prevail. Nations will have their own competitive edge. But bear in mind, particularly when you are dealing with non-transparent economies or economies where a very large element of the cost is directly or indirectly subsidized, like petroleum products being subsidized in some of the countries. There we will have to be conscious that unless we support our own domestic manufacturers, India in the long run will suffer. And of course you're also eating into India's jobs. You are eating into India's ability to be self-sufficient, and you're putting yourself to future potential risk. Quality also will then automatically improve as more and more investments come into the sector. Each one of you can look at stricter and tighter quality control in your products. We can look at, we already have introduced a number of quality control orders in your sector. I think over the last 2 or 3 years, we've had QCOs for 19 items of geotech, 12 items of protective technical textiles, 20 items of agrotech, and 6 items of medtech products. But I would urge you to come up with more ideas. We can have QCOs for raw material, QCOs for the entire value chain. We can have some horizontal QCOs even for the end product, like apparel and stuff like that. And I don't mean it at all as an element of protection or to reduce or affect any international engagement. The effort is to make sure that consumers get high quality product, get value for money.